Here we go. Let's start with the first question. First question is from Sri Lanka. From Sri Lanka. And this is Ravi. All right, so we have, we're new country. We're expanding over there in Sri Lanka. Ravi, thanks for the wonderful question. Is like, how to pray accurately. Great question, okay? So praying accurately, or maybe I think the word you might be wanting to say maybe might be praying properly, right? Praying properly. And the first two advice I give to you, Ravi, more than anything else, when you start to pray, when you first start your prayer, is not going to be like, do it like this and do it like that. No, the first thing I just want you to do is what's in here. And the first two things that I really implore as you begin to pray, as you start to pray, number one is be very honest. Like, be honest as in, hey God, I'm not even sure if you're there, but I'm praying just in case, right? Like, that's honest, right? God loves honesty. And the second one is be sincere. And those are the first two things you need to start out with when you start to pray, right? Honest and sincere, right? It's not like, I'm honest, yeah, God, it's good weather today, and thank you for the black beans that I had, and yeah, thank you for the chato, 40% off. Like, that's not sincere, right? You want to be honest and sincere. And those are the two things that, Ravi, I'm just going to give you advices. Those are the two things you start with to begin your prayers. Like, God, you know, I'm really looking for something. I'm not sure what's there, and you got to help me out here, kind of thing, right? So that's the first two things, is honesty and sincerity. So start with that first. And after a week, when you come back again, tell me how it goes, and we can answer the next stage of your prayer. Great. Thank you, Ravi. Let's go to the next question. Next question is all the way in PJ, Petaling Jaya, from Jackson. Jackson sounds like a Malaysian name. Cool. Jackson and PJ. Why is it so boring to be alone? Because you're boring. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It's a joke. So why is it so boring to be alone and I feel like I can't be by myself? And the answer is this. In the beginning, remember, there's a lot of people that are very dependent on others, dependent on being with others, having more fun when they're with other people. And that's a natural thing, is when we're always with other people and we're depending on these people a lot. So Jackson, the very first thing I said, why is it so boring? Because honestly, if you haven't spent a lot of time with yourself, you don't even know what to do. Right? Think about this, about people who are like hermits. They always spend time by themselves, but when they're spending time with people, they don't even know how to talk to people. They're like, do you like cats? Like, it's like, they don't know what to say, right? So it's because we don't know, and we're, being alone is a little bit difficult for us. The best thing I'm telling you right now, Jackson, is schedule alone time. Like, think about it and say this. Like, for instance, here's one good thing that you can do, good exercise. Say, I want alone time. So what you do is, in your day, set out just 15 minutes of alone time. And in 15 minutes of alone time, what do? Usually in the morning or at the night, when it's a little bit free, when your mind is a little bit more clear, in this alone time for 15 minutes, don't check your phone, don't check anything else, and just start writing a journal. Like, hey, what did I do the last day? What are my thoughts? How am I feeling today? And that's the first way you can start your alone time, right? Remember, it's for yourself. There's no one else but you, and that means you have to talk to yourself, right? You have to get used to find out about yourself more. Why do I like this? Why am I doing this? Am I doing this because I'm following other people? Or am I doing this because I really like it or not? And these are things you need to think about. So in the beginning, just start with like 15 minutes. 15 minutes is fine, okay? So that's the first thing. That's the first step I ask you, Jackson, to try out. All right, thank you for that question from PJ. That's Jackson. Let's go to Amy. Amy in KL. And Amy KL says, how do you train to not be lonely? Okay, I don't think I could be by myself without social media or friends for 15 minutes. And that is a truth for many people. And I can see people over there in the tech area like nodding their heads like, oh my gosh, 15 minutes, that's a tough time not to talk to anyone, right? And training yourself is the exact same thing I just told to to Jackson, right? And it is, you need to set time aside for yourself. Like, set it aside, and don't just set like 3 hours. Set the 3 hours with what you're going to do, right? Don't just sit there and say, oh, I'm gonna spend 3 hours by myself. No. It's better to have a shorter amount of time, but schedule the exact things you want to do, rather than just putting 3 hours out there or 2 hours, right? Yeah, so you spend 2 hours and say, God, you know what? I'm going to just spend this time in meditation. I spend my time in a journal, spend my time working out, thinking about things. I'm going to spend my time thinking about a new hobby. Or I'm going to read. Or I'm going to do something else by myself. And you want to get yourself into a schedule. Okay? Thank you, Amy from KL. Let's move over to the next one. It is Eddie Evan. Eddie Evan in New York. Cool. How does being alone actually allow you to know yourself? Interesting question. How does being alone actually allow you to know yourself? Okay, well, this is one of the things I talked about today is when you're by yourself, what happens is you clear your mind, right? And I just kind of said it right before to Amy. And when you're by yourself, you can actually question why you do the things you do. Are you doing it for other people, or are you doing it because of yourself? Like it's something you really, really want. Is it something you choose to do for other people, or you're doing it just because you feel the pressure to do it? If you understand what I'm saying, Eddie, it is getting to know yourself in a way, you kind of question yourself is, oh, why am I doing this? What is my goal? What should I do here? Am I doing this just to make my parents happy, or am I doing this because it makes me happy? Or you can even say, you know what, but making my parents happy is what I like, and that's what I want to do to make them happy, and I don't mind whatever job I do. That's fine too, but it is finding out about yourself, stepping back, looking at your life, looking at the decisions you make, and finding yourself as in, I wonder why I'm doing this. I wonder why I'm doing this, right? And this is kind of one of the first starts that I suggest for you, Eddie, is when you take that 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes, 1 hour, whatever it is, write questions down. Why am I in this major? Why am I doing this job? Why am I working here? Okay, and that's something that I think that it's a good start for you to find out about yourself, why you're doing the things that you do. All right, great question, Eddie. Let's go to the next one, all the way over in Japan with Hannah Yusan. And she says, sometimes I want to be alone, but I don't know how to say it to people. Do I really need to speak it out? And the answer is, it depends, but to minimize misunderstanding, it is a good thing. And if you're really close friends, or if you're friends, they should understand, right? If they say, hey, we want to hang out, it's like, oh, today I'm going to spend some alone time. Yeah, I got some, or, you don't even have to say I'm going to be alone. You can even say, I got some things to do. Yeah, I got some things to do, right? Or I have this, like, you don't have to say everything you're doing, right? It's not like you meet a stranger and like, hey, how's it going? Actually, I'm going through a really tough time. I'm so depressed because this happened. No, you don't have to say all those things. You don't have to say everything to anyone either, right? So Hannah, when you talk to, you want to be alone, and that's fine. That's great. And you don't need to tell people why you want to be alone. You shouldn't. You don't have to. It's just, hey, no, it's like, oh, I can't today. I'm busy. I have a schedule today. That's all you have to say. Oh, okay. And it becomes not a big deal. I got a schedule today. I got a schedule. Right? So do I really need to speak it out? And the answer is, it really would depend on the relationship and the situation. But I would say in most cases, if it's people you know, it's good to say like, at least I'm busy, or I have an appointment, or I have a schedule, so I can't meet until this time. And everyone understands about schedules, right? Oh, I got a meeting. Oh, I can't do it. Oh, I have a schedule, so I can't meet until like 4 p.m. And they're like, oh, okay, no problem. People shouldn't get upset about those types of things. And the only time that I would really, really be vocal or to stop misunderstanding is if you're in the middle of doing something with people. And if you just kind of break off and go by yourself, then people are going to misunderstand. Like, oh, what happened? Did I do something? Oh my gosh. Like, that's something that I would be very, communicate a lot more about too. Yeah. And, be very, very, be honest in that situation. Like, you know what? I'm not feeling very well, or I just need some time to myself. I'm just kind of overwhelmed by the situation, so I'm going to leave a little bit early, and that's fine too. Yeah. So if you ever do feel that, in most cases it's good just to make sure there's no misunderstanding, and there's some cases not, especially when it's like people that are not very, very close to you and stuff like that too. But I would say in most cases it's good. It's good to do it, just to make sure there's no misunderstanding. Cool. Thank you, Hannah, in Japan. Let's go over to Ichigo in Korea. Ichigo is asking how to spend my time more efficiently when I am alone. Schedule it. That's the biggest thing. Schedule exactly what you're going to do. Alone time doesn't mean spend 3 hours doing nothing, because you end up going to the TV, you end up going to social media because you have nothing to do, which means that you need to schedule it in. Hey, I'm going to spend 20 minutes on writing a journal. I'm going to spend 30 minutes exercising. I'm going to spend 20 minutes on reading, like reading a book, right? You want to schedule your time so you're not going to waste time alone by yourself, right? Spend the time properly by doing what? Scheduling exactly what you're going to do, right? And give or take 10 minutes, like, yeah, I'm going to do it for 30 minutes. It might only go for 20, might go for 40, right? And just do it accordingly. But schedule your time so it's not like just 3 hours. What do I do? I don't know. That's not really spending it efficiently, okay? Thank you, Ichigo in Korea. Let's go all the way over to Aaron in Japan. When we go against the flow of the crowd, we can't stop people from speaking against us, like in Noah's situation. What can we do to keep ourselves or others strong? To keep ourselves and others strong through those difficulties? Well, if we are the ones that recognize that situation, then we want to be very supportive. If we can recognize the situation, right? We want to be very supportive. And if it comes to people speaking against us, like at the time of Noah, oh my goodness. Yeah, listen, don't react, and then get your alone time and get your mind cleared and think to yourself, oh, why are these people doing it? Because I'm going to tell you, if these people are close to you and they're friends, like 99% of the time, it's not malicious, and they're not trying to do it for a bad reason, to put you down, right? 99.9% is not like, especially people who know you. They're not doing it for that reason. But if you can recognize it for other people, support them. You know, allow them to have their own voice, right? Support them. And if it's for yourself, if anything, you know, sometimes it is discouraging when people say stuff against you. However, the good thing about this is it is building perseverance. And that's one thing that we really want to develop is our perseverance, where they keep saying like, okay, I understand. Oh yeah, okay, I understand. And you don't have to say anything against them. You don't have to say, why, how dare you come against me? You don't have to say any of that, right? But you want to take your alone time later and really think about what they told you, take it in, think about what you're thinking. And for those of you who have faith, of course, you're praying to see what God's will is. And that's something that I do believe that we do have to support each other a lot better in those areas, but also recognize that you're in that situation and get your alone time so you don't get swayed off from kind of the direction that you have. Okay? Thanks, Aaron. Let's go over to Zaheng D. Huh? Oh, Chanda. Okay. Chanda in PJ. I always feel uncomfortable when eating or studying alone. What should I do? Well, you know, you have to kind of train yourself in that area, which means this. Okay, I'm serious. Don't feel embarrassed by this, because a lot of people are like this. Okay, a lot of people are like this. What I'm going to tell you is this: spend time with people, but go early, like 30 minutes. Spend your time alone studying, right? Do your things for your 30 minutes. And then your friends will come at a certain time, which means you're basically training yourself to be alone, to be able to work under those conditions. Like honestly, for me, when it comes to studying, I can't study with people. It's too hard for me. Oh, it's way too hard for me, right? So for yourself, train yourself in that area where you do meet with people, but go early, or go an hour early, go 30 minutes early, where you can spend time alone doing your studying. But the comforting part is eventually people are going to come. Right? So you're not going to be like, oh no, right? But basically you're just building yourself in the time you spend. But like I said to everyone else, make sure if you go an hour early, make sure to schedule what you're going to do. Don't just go an hour early for no reason. Literally study, like you have to study. Literally read a book. Don't just sit there with no schedule. Go a little bit early before everyone comes, spend the 15 minutes, then 20 minutes, then 30 minutes, and get yourself used to being alone more and more and more, so you can be good in both sides, okay? It's a great question though, Chanda. A lot of people are asking about that one too. Let's go to next question. Gabriel and Saba. All right, I'm really comfortable being alone. Ah, okay, cool. But too comfortable and not utilizing the time given and result in wasting even more time. What should I do? Okay, so in that case, it doesn't really mean you're too comfortable being alone, right? Because what I'm talking about being alone is like understanding, knowing yourself, even like having the self-confidence and the value of self, right? So being alone, remember, it doesn't mean that in one sense, it doesn't mean you have tons of people around you. You could still feel alone. And you could be alone, but still not be alone. Why? Because wasting time is like being on social media, like, you know, playing games and doing all these other different things. But it's not even planned. It's kind of like like you said, wasting time. And you don't want to waste time, right? Because wasting time is like, you know, at the end of it, you didn't really get anything out of it. So you don't even get to know yourself better. All you know are the things that you don't like. Like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Oh, I shouldn't have done this. Oh, right? But instead, use your time and use your time well. Being comfortable alone is not so much saying that it can more mean that you're more comfortable not seeing people face to face. But you're okay by yourself and there's no confrontation, and you can talk to chat with all these other different people while you're on the keyboard or while you're on your phone and stuff like that too. And it's still being alone. Yeah. So being alone is you're having that confidence, right? Knowing yourself, understanding yourself, right? And also being able, like from that situation, you can understand people a lot better too. And your relationships will grow a lot more also. Yeah, so yeah, I understand though, because especially this Generation Z, it's a technology generation. It's the loneliest generation, but it's something that we have to understand. Like one stat you need to know is, Generation Z is 30% less likely to have relationships, but 30% more likely to have mental illness. Crazy, right? Yeah. And that's anyone born after 1995. Yeah. All right, let's go to, is this last question of the day? Oh no, there's more questions. Mary Grace Arbasto from the Philippines. Oh, cool. Is this the last question? Last question, cool. Last question from the Philippines. Mary Grace Arbasto. Being an introvert, okay, I'm more comfortable having me time than spending it with others. What should be the best attitude to overcome this and to have confidence being with others? Honestly, the good thing about being an introvert is you're comfortable being by yourself, and you're very productive by yourself too. But one thing that I'm going to tell you is it's good to be alone, right? It's good to have that introvert, like being able to be confident in yourself and being productive by yourself. But I will tell you one thing is, if you always do things alone, you cannot do bigger things or greater things or achieve like the dreams or goals that you really, really want, right? Like there's some things I know in life that people want to achieve something. It's far easier to be able to do it with people, right? And that's why I'm talking about balance, right? Today I'm not talking about it's better to be alone or it's better not to be with a lot of people. We need a balance of both. And the best attitude to overcome this is, well, the best attitude for everything usually is to be positive, right? Seeing the best parts of being with someone. Like, oh, why do I want to hang out with this person? Wow, this person's so funny. They make me laugh. I want to be with this person. Oh, this person, man, they cook so well. Let's go cook something to eat. Oh, this person is just great. They're great to be. Like, you have to look at the good things about them. And the one thing is, if you're more comfortable spending time with yourself, then my first thing that you should do is you want to hang out in small groups with one other person, starting there. One other person, talking to them one-on-one, and then, slowly building yourself, to spend like 30 minutes with them after like work or after service or whatever it is, and slowly building it up, right? Almost everything I talk about today, and all the things I talk about almost in every talk, one of the biggest things is every single thing that we're trying to achieve, whether it's trying to be comfortable with people or being alone, everything is like a muscle that needs to be worked out, right? And that's why I'm telling people start with 15 minutes alone. And then for Mary, I'll be like, start with 15 minutes talking on the phone with someone. 20 minutes talking on the phone with someone. 30 minutes or 1 hour eating lunch together with someone and talking to them. Just spend short amounts of time. Short amounts of time and build it as you go. Yeah, it's a majority of the people these days have a hard time being alone, like literally being efficient and productive and confident in being alone. But very, very good. Like, I think more than being an introvert, you have your confidence in yourself, and you're very productive, and you spend time better with yourself than with others. But one thing, like I said before, is when you have dynamics and synergy with other people, it can become so much greater. It's like marriage, right? Marriage is supposed to reach a point where your two people are so in love with each other, they would rather be with each other than be alone, right? It's supposed to be that much better and that much greater, right? And how do you get to marry someone? Lots of time you spend together. That's what it is. Small amounts of time, bit by bit by bit, growing more and more. And that's the same thing going to happen when you want to grow in, when